Hi guys, and welcome to Piano and Keyboard Artists, where we discuss the artists related to pianos, keyboards and synthesizers. And today's video was meant to be part 3 of the Black Celebration album review as part of my Depeche Mode album review series. But following the sad news we got yesterday about the death of Marie Fredriksson, I really just wanted to make a video and pay respect to her. Now, if you've been a regular subscriber to my channel for a while, guys, you will know my story. I always talk about how the first time I heard Enjoy the Silence from Depeche Mode many years ago, that was the song that got me into Depeche Mode, and it ignited my enthusiasm in music and wanted me to become, and made me become an artist and a producer. Enjoy the Silence was the song that is responsible for where I am now. So I'm very grateful to that. But what you guys don't know is that before I heard Enjoy the Silence, the very first pop band or pop act that got me into music was Roxette. Roxette was the very first pop band that resonated with me. I remember at the time, I was quite a late developer, and a lot of the kids at school were listening to things like, it was AC/DC, Def Leppard, Depeche Mode, and Duran Duran, all the names. And I remember the days kids would have it, you'd have your favorite bands written on your pencil cases. It was 100 years ago. And I was never into music. I was a bit of a geek. I used to build model airplanes and stuff like that. And I was always a bit of a loner, not in a rejected kind of way. I just always chose to be alone and preferred my own company. But it wasn't, as I say, it wasn't until I heard, she's got the look, na 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 na, na 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 na. And that was the first time something went, oh, I like that. And as a result, the very first album I ever bought, my first album, was Roxette's Look Sharp. And I remember I bought that on cassette. This is many years ago. And in order to afford to be able to buy that cassette, I used to work in a supermarket as a teenager. It was a weekend job. I used to, pack shelves, work, stack trolleys, pick up baskets, just like a general assistant to help cashiers. And I used to get paid R1 an hour, which was very little even in those days. And I remember the cassette used to cost at the time, I think it was 10 Rand. So in order to afford that cassette, I had to work 10 hours, which is essentially a whole weekend's work just in order to afford that cassette. But guys, this was a different time. I feel so old now, but this is a time where, these days everything's on demand. Everything's on demand. Your music on demand, videos on demand. Things were different in those days. Things were so much harder to come by, and you had to really work for things. And I think that's why we appreciated things more in those days. But anyway, Roxette Look Sharp was my first album, and I listened to that cassette to death. In fact, I listened to it so many times that the tape began to stretch and because I had a shitty old cassette deck. And I was so upset when the cassette started going because when I first got it, went na 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 na, she's got the look. And after I had played it to death, it started going na 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 na, she's got the look. The tape had stretched, and I remember, there was all this advice at the time. If your cassette stretches, what you do is you just put it in take your cassette and put it in the ice compartment in the freezer of your fridge for an hour, and that's meant to apparently shrink the cassette, which never really worked. It just meant you got condensation and water in your tape in your cassette, and you put water in your tape deck. Anyway, I've got really fond memories of that time, and hearing that Marie Fredriksson passed away at such a young age, at 61, I mean, first of all, it shocked me that she'd passed away. Secondly, I was shocked to hear, I said, what, she was 61? 61 is not old these days, but it's just, I couldn't believe that Marie Fredriksson was 61. Now, the reason I stumbled upon Depeche Mode was because of Roxette, really, was because, what was that song they did? It must have been love, but it's over now. From that movie with Richard Gere and Julia Roberts. I can't remember the name. But anyway, I was looking for that song, and the only way I could get that song was I had to buy a compilation album which had various artists. That was the only way I could get hold of that song, and that song was on there, and Enjoy the Silence was the first song on side 2, and that's how. So Roxette really led me to Depeche Mode. which led me to other things, which led me to where I am today. But yeah, as I said, listening to Roxette again this morning, I just got really emotional. I just think, when I think of Marie Fredriksson, there are so many good things that come to my mind, but one word that that just comes to my mind straight away when I think of Marie Fredriksson is class. This woman was pure class. She had such poise and such magic about her. Marie Fredriksson is what I would call a proper artist. There was no bullshit. There was no smoke and mirrors. She was the real deal. You know, she was not only beautiful, my God, she was one of the first, you know, when you're sort of getting into puberty and you kind of discover women, because before that you're like, oh, girl's gross, but then you, all of a sudden you see certain women, they make you feel good inside. And Marie Fredriksson was one of those. She was just one of my first childhood crushes, you know, with her blonde hair and her beautiful features and those gorgeous legs, and she had a great figure, and she could look beautiful without looking tarty. She could look sexy without looking slutty. She was just absolute class, and there was no bullshit about her. Just watching her, I think Roxette toured South Africa in I think it was the early to mid 90s. I wasn't there at the concert, but I watched it on TV. And when she played songs, she played some ballads just on the piano, just by herself. And then you just realized this is a proper artist. And it's very seldom that I see people especially these days, in the mainstream pop arena. When you see, there are a lot of artists that I look at and I go, oh, yeah, you're just a marketing machine. And that's just my opinion. Of course, there are a lot of great, talented artists in the mainstream. Having said that, I really don't pay attention to the mainstream. I just know that there are a lot of talented people in the mainstream, and there are a lot of fake people in the mainstream that are kind of just relying on smoke and mirrors, and they're making the record companies a lot of money, and it's a completely separate subject. But Marie Fredriksson to me was just absolute class. You know, she was a mother. You know, she did great work in the community. I think I always say God looks down on people like Marie Fredriksson and he just smiles. I mean, yeah, the woman's an angel, and she really was. And you know, I don't mean to be cheesy or philosophical. She just really was. You know, I was a huge fan. I loved the way the Roxette albums of, I think, songs like Sleeping Single, Dressed for Success, and it was kind of like this, what you gonna tell your mother? Oh, oh, oh. What you gonna tell your father? I don't know. What you gonna tell your brother? Let me go. The way their voices used to work together and the way the songs were arranged and the production, it was fantastic. That Look Sharp album was incredible, and I will review that separately in a separate album review next year. I loved Per Gessle, the guy from Roxette. He had that walking like a man, hitting like a hammer, she's a juvenile scam, never was a quitter, tasty like a raindrop, she's got the look. He had that husky voice. And Marie Fredriksson's voice was, to me, the perfect combination between a sweet, subtle, beautiful, pure, feminine voice, but it also had this rawness and this edge to it. Man, it's funny how it's funny how it takes the death of pops. We tend to take people for granted. Unfortunately, that's human nature. But just listening to her again this morning, you know, as I say, when I listened to Roxette, when I listened to that album the first time, I was amazed by it. But I knew nothing about music. But listening to it now with producers' ears and what I know now about music, I just love it even more. I just think it was brilliant. And Roxette had so many great songs. What I loved about Roxette was the songs, to me, are proper songs because they're based on melody. They're based on structure and emotion. Everything that the embodiment of songwriting and music and emotion is all present in Roxette's music. There's no bullshit. It's not reliant on, fancy production, although the production was very slick. It is, if you strip everything away, it is just brilliant, honest songwriting at its highest form. I'm just thinking of, what was that? Listen to Your Heart, which was one of my favorite songs on the Look Sharp album. were so many. I'm thinking of Crash Boom Bang, You Don't Understand Me. Oh, the ballads were gorgeous. What was that one? Fading Like a Flower. I could get carried away here. I mean, so many great melodies, music that's just right up my street. As I say, in recent years with, the more later albums, I did kind of lose track of Roxette because I kind of, I'm more inspired by sort of like edgy electronic music. But, Roxette will always have a special place in my heart, and especially that Look Sharp album. It was just a magical album. So Marie Fredriksson, absolutely iconic class. It's sometimes difficult to find the words to express sometimes it's difficult to find the words to express what one feels, and sadness at the moment, but extreme gratitude that we did experience the magic of Marie Fredriksson. I just think it's a very sad and dark day in Sweden today and yesterday, I'm sure, and indeed a dark day for the music industry. We've lost an incredible artist, but the beauty about today and the technology is that we have the recorded mediums. These artists can live forever, and we can celebrate their magic and their legacy forever through these recorded mediums. And guys, I'm going to take the afternoon off. I'm going to grab a glass of red wine, and I'm going to just listen to Marie Fredriksson all night. And I hope you'll do the same as we celebrate this outstanding artist. Thank you, Marie Fredriksson, and thank you, Sweden. You've given us some great artists. Guys, please leave your comments below. Let me know what you thought of Marie Fredriksson, anything you would like to say. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. And once again, Marie Fredriksson, my deepest condolences to your family, but thank you so much thank you for the music. Thank you, Marie Fredriksson. Rest in peace. God bless you.